Okay, can you all hear me all right? Yeah, perfect. All right, so good morning, everybody. My thought for you that I started this week because, we had a full moon recently on this idea of the full moon energy being one that pulls out from us, right? The power of the moon is that it's very much our inner world. It's our emotional self. It's our psychic self. It's our subconscious, right? So it's the places in you that are very deeply hidden. It's not what's on the surface, it's what's very deeply drawn back and behind. But the power of the full moon is that it starts to pull all of that buried understanding, all of that buried experience forward, right? So that thing that we say, like during the full moon, people get crazy, right? Weird things happen and everybody goes kind of berserk. Well, that's that energy of the full moon that's pulling the subconscious forward, that's pulling whatever's been buried in you forward. Right. And so suddenly it seems like it's so big and it's so heightened and you're like, where did it come from? But it's been sitting there the entire time, right? It's been sitting in the corners of you the entire time. And so there's a chance with full moon energy to take whatever is there, because it's not always the brilliance of you that starts to get heightened. It's everything. So it's whatever you have shoved into the corners that starts to come forward and express itself in a big way. But there's a chance to take that and to turn it into real understanding, because that's the challenge with the moon, because it's not upfront, right? It's not the obvious explanation. It's not the obvious interpretation. Moon is always what's behind. It's always what is hiding behind the surface that is important. So you have the chance to take what is buried in you and start to understand it in a much more full conscious way. Instead of it being something that's just half formed or half understood in shadow, it becomes something that is fully illuminated, right? And that's the practice of yoga, is it says that all we're ever doing is we're using our awareness, we're using our perception to be able to illuminate consciousness, right? Because that's what we are, is we're consciousness. So we're able to illuminate it in a way where we're capable of seeing it for the fullness that it is. And that's when our ideas of separateness disappear. That's when our ideas of suffering start to disappear. We start to see things, experience things in a way that doesn't have shadows, right? That is just that whole complete understanding, fully illuminated. So that's the power of the full moon. That's what we're still running off of, right? Full moon energy is not just the day of, but it actually extends, right? That energy builds and then it's moving through you still a week after, right? The moon was actually full. So carry it with you, that whatever has been heightened in your life, whatever's been heightened in you recently, pay attention to it. And pay attention to it because it has the chance to illuminate something important for you, right? So that's what our practice is we take whatever is bubbling up, our prana, our pranic understanding, and we start to illuminate it, or we start to allow it to be illuminating. So comfortable seat if you're not there already. Let the eyes close. And I was thinking just last night that in coordination with this, I was thinking about Brahmacharya, which is one of the yamas. Yes. And Brahmacharya is this concept that it's often translated as just being kind of chastity, but it's really the idea of not wasting anything, not wasting any part of your prana. So as you are breathing a little deeper into yourself, you breathe in the idea that there is nothing inside of you, no matter how distorted or weird it might seem, that there is nothing inside of you that does not have purpose, that doesn't have meaning. And if its meaning is not yet understood, then it's just wisdom waiting to be untapped. It's waiting to be illuminated. But that there only is that experience of waste if we disregard what's inside of us. So breathe a little deeper. And breathe with that feeling of inclusion, that whatever is there, you want it to be part of your breath. My breath is something that includes, not excludes. Because it's early, do a deep breath in. Then exhale, maybe open the mouth, let yourself yawn. Do that a couple of times. You let the jaw drop on the exhale. Let yourself yawn. See if that doesn't move away from a place where you have to keep yourself awake. You suddenly just are a little bit more present. Good. And then still with the eyes closed, inhale the arms up to the sky. And as you exhale, take a gentle twist to your right, the left hand to outer right knee, right hand behind you. Deep breath in, deep breath out. And then inhale the arms back up to the sky, come back to center. And then exhale, go the other way, twist to the left, right hand to left knee, left hand behind you. Dropping into the back of your rib cage. So settle into your seat, take that arch out of your back. Inhale the arms back up to the sky. Twist again to your right. Good. Drawing the low belly back away from the thighs. Nice. Inhale the arms up. Back to center. Twist to your left. Good. Navel draws in. Good. One more time. Inhale, arms to the sky and twist to the right on your exhale. Getting into the back rib cage, and then inhale the arms up. Last time to the left, twist to your left. Good. Ribs moving back. And then come back to center, arms to the sky. Interlace your fingers, press heels of the hands up, push through the pinkies. Good. And then press the palms together, bring the hands straight down the center line to the heart. We'll open with the sound of Om. Deep breath in. Let the eyes float open. Nice, you guys. You can release your hands. Come forward to hands and knees. Do a little cat and cow. Knees underneath the hips. Make sure you press through your shins. Hands underneath the shoulders. Make sure you press through your hands. And then move your spine. It's interesting. I can't see all of you when we're beginning because you don't always all have your cameras on, and I can't, see everybody's face at once. But if you're cheating yourself of your ohms at home, you're not doing them out loud. Do your ohms out loud. I don't care if you're off key. I'm off key and I'm on camera. It's important, right? Because that's an opportunity for you to, again, chronically wake up something inside. It's the first mantra. It's the ultimate mantra. So don't skip it. Even if your Om is teeny, teeny, tiny, I still say do it loud, but teeny, teeny, tiny, do it out loud. Good. Move a little bit faster, please. Press into your shins. Again, press into your shins so you create stability in the pelvis. Good. Nice, you guys. And then come back to stillness, please. Stretch the right arm out wide to the right. Slide behind the left wrist, right shoulder finds the floor, turn your gaze, walk the left arm forward towards straight up on your fingertips. Maybe even keep your elbow bent, especially if the shoulder is really looking for a little bit more openness, is keep the elbow bent, but maybe walk the hand a little bit more towards the top of your head. Good, so it opens the armpit area more, but you can keep that openness through the arm so it doesn't get stuck. Good, press into that right arm that's on the floor. Good, so you have a little bit of a lift through that right shoulder, press into your shins, open your rib cage a little more. Left rib cage goes up and wide. Nice. And then bring it all the way back up, hands and knees, and go the other way. Take the left arm out and wide. Slide behind the right wrist, left shoulder reaches towards the floor. Not a big deal if the shoulder can't touch the floor. Right arm comes forward towards straight, but again, if you like having that elbow bent, it gives you a little bit more ability to really rotate through your ribs. Keep the elbow a little bent, stay on your fingertips, and maybe walk that hand a little bit more towards the top of your head, so you're actually creating a little bit more twist through the side body, but you don't have to pull through the arm. Press into your shins. Good. Don't forget that part, because pressing into your shins, especially in a pose like this, stabilizes lower body, and it starts to just wake up those big muscles on the outside of the thighs and the hips. Good. You're preparing yourself. I used to like to just skip these easy poses, the ones that are meant to really just open you up and just rush to something that feels exciting. Bring yourself back up to hands and knees. No longer. Have to prepare. Spread your fingers wide, please, and then step your feet back to plank pose, upward push-up. Good. I want you to feel like you are squeezing your feet towards your hands and your hands towards your feet. So there's this feeling of pulling in. And in, the description is almost like a jackknife. Like if you had to, you're pulling in so much that your hips might lift because you're pulling in so much. Good. One more breath, please. Squeeze in, lift the back of your throat. Good. And then hips high to the sky, please. Pull up onto the tippy toes of your feet. Pull up. Hands and feet still pulling together. Even though you're going towards down dog, squeeze hands and feet. Good. And then release the heels, soften them down towards the floor. It doesn't matter if they touch. Beautiful. Right foot steps forward between the hands. Good. Both hands come inside the front foot, please. Start to circle that hip. Make nice big circles. Nice. Good, you guys. Try not to wipe out. Beautiful. And then come back to stillness, please. Knee over the ankle, and then walk your hands straight ahead. So both hands are still inside. Walk your hands straight ahead on fingertips. Good. So as you're there, squeeze the feet towards each other, drag back on the hands, lift your chest forward a little bit more. So again, that feeling of I'm squeezing from the back and the front, the extremities in towards the center. Squeeze in. Lift your butt a little higher. Yeah. Good. And then walk your hands back in towards that front foot, please. Left hand plants, right arm comes to the sky, spinal twist, open. Good. Nice, you guys. One more breath, open. Lift that right rib cage higher. That's it, good, Lynn. And then release that hand down to the floor. Beautiful, step back plank pose. Good. Drop your left knee down to the floor. Good, turn your right heel to flat. Take your right arm up to the sky. Yeah, so press into that left shin, super powerful. Good, draw your left armpit forward over your left wrist and then hug that left arm up in towards the center of your back. So don't push down more, pull up more. Get your right rib cage more awake. Good, and then go ahead and float that right foot up off of the floor. Good, parallel with the floor if you can. Awesome. And then make little circles with that leg. Good. Little ones. Press into your left shin. Good. Nice, you guys. And then come to stillness, please. Take that left hand behind you. Sorry, that's your right hand behind your head. Bend your right knee. Kick your heel back towards your butt. Good. And then draw that knee further back towards the wall behind you or whatever's behind you. Draw that knee back. Squeeze the heel in. Open the heart like you're going to hook that foot to the inside of your arm. Good. Yeah, so you're back bending, but you're not reaching for the foot. And then extend all the way back to straight, please. Nice job. Come back to plank pose. I know. Drop that right foot. Back to plank. Squeeze the hands. Squeeze the feet towards each other. You got it. In plank. Good. Lift the hips nice and high. Come onto your tippy toes. Still pull the hands and the feet towards each other. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Good. And then let your heels soften towards the floor. Let the crown of your head pull towards that space between your thumbs. Good. But the shoulders never drop. The armpits never drop. Nice. Left foot steps forward between the hands. Both hands come inside the front foot. Make nice big circles with that hip. Nice. The Brahmacharya is the conserving of your prana. It means don't waste it on things that don't matter. And that includes don't waste it on emotional patterns that are old and don't make any sense anymore, that don't represent the truth. It means don't let it stay stuck in your body because it feels like it's too much work to figure out how to move it. Means don't let it get lost because you feel like zoning out for days at a time, weeks at a time. Come back to stillness, please. Knee over top of the ankle. Good. Walk your hands straight ahead, both hands still inside, up on fingertips. Again, if you can keep that back knee lifted, keep it lifted. If it has to come down, no problem. Squeeze the feet towards each other, drag back on the hands, lift your chest a little higher, lift the back of your throat. If your head is dropping below your shoulders, it's gonna feel like a lot of weight. Lift up. Good. One more breath, pull your hips back. Yeah, good, Teresa. Walk your hands back in, please. Right hand plants, left arm to the sky, spinal twist. You have to stay lifted in your legs. If you don't keep the energy in your legs, it's gonna feel like you're just have no choice but to drop to the floor. So you gotta stay lifted there to keep the upper back, the upper chest light. Good. One more breath, lift that left rib cage, and then release that hand down to the floor. Step back plank pose. Nice, squeeze the hands and the feet towards each other. There shouldn't be a moment that you don't feel powerful in plank. Good, and then right knee comes down to the floor, underneath your hip. So make sure it's far enough forward that it's really supporting you. Press into your shin, take the left heel to flat, left arm to the sky. Good, so again, pushing into the shin, even if your toes are tucked under, that's fine, but still push through that supporting leg so that it's not just your knee that's doing the supporting. And then bring your armpit forward a little bit more over your wrist. And then float that left leg up parallel to the floor. Navel has to come in towards your spine. Stabilize the pelvis. Good. And then make little circles with that left leg. Good. So again, it might seem like that left leg is the one that has to do more work because it's the one that's lifted and it's the one that has to move. But really, I would say your right leg is doing more powerful work, right? The one that you're not looking at, not thinking about, that you just assume is going to keep supporting you. Big deal. It is a big deal. Come to stillness, please. Left hand comes back behind your head. Bend that left knee, kick your heel in towards your butt. Draw your knee back so that it's more in line with your whole spine. It's pulling that straight line of your spine. And then take the back of your heart towards that heel. Take your heel towards the back of your heart. Squeeze that heel in. Yeah. Nice, you guys. And don't let your right butt cheek flare out. Keep it drawing back and in. That's your supporting leg. Good. Extend all the way back out. Nice, Pam. You had it. Good. And then come all the way back down. Plank pose. I know you're tired of hearing the word plank. Squeeze your hands and your feet towards each other. Good. Lift the back of your throat. When plank doesn't bother you at all, then you can stop doing it. Lift your hips nice and high. Come up onto your tippy toes. Squeeze your hands and your feet towards each other. And then soften those heels. Downward facing dog. Nice job. Right leg comes up and back, down dog split. Good. Bend the knee, kick your heel in towards your butt. Stack right hip on top of left. Open, open, open. Nice. One more breath. Really squeeze that heel in. Lift that inner thigh higher. So not go more into the twist, but lift your inner thigh higher. That's it. Good. And then spin that knee facing down. Step the right foot between the hands. Lunge. Good. Back heel comes flat. Baby toe parallels back of your mat. Come into warrior two. Warrior two. Warrior two. 1, 2. Good. Front knee is pointing towards second or third toe. So look where your knee is pointing. Good. Again, power of this pose is in that intentional focus. So can you squeeze your feet towards each other? Can you squeeze your arms towards each other? Nice. And then left hand drops down the back thigh, right palm spins up and back, reverse warrior. It's almost funny that, again, I started this week with the idea of the god of the moon, and that what gets him into trouble is that he's always chasing his desires. He has incredible desires. Bring yourself back up to warrior two. Good. Right forearm drops onto the front thigh, left arm comes over the ear, side angle. Don't push all of your weight into that right arm. So instead push, or if you are pushing into that right arm, use it as a way to pull your right rib cage up off of your thigh and rotate more. Good. One more breath, squeeze the feet. Nice. And then release that right hand down to the floor, still in side angle, but down to the floor or a block inside that front foot. Press your forearm up against your shin, squeeze your shin in towards that arm, and take your left arm maybe straight up to the sky so that you get more lift through your left rib cage. So pull up. and work that rotation. Good. Nice, Calliope. Open that left armpit a little more. Good, good, good. Nice, Victoria. And then release that hand down, please. Spin your back heel up. Drop that back knee, both hands inside the front foot. Walk to the upper left-hand corner of your mat. Drop down to your elbows. Good, or stay where you are. Maybe being on the elbows sounds like a terrible idea. But let yourself drop in. So that back knee comes down to the floor, changes the angle on the pelvis, changes the angle on that back thigh. Now there's a little bit more moving through the hip flexors. Good. You still have the chance here to keep hollowing the front of your pelvis. If there's still that feeling that you're trying to lift your front of your pelvic bones up off of your thighs. All right, so the moon god, he gets cursed. There's different variations of the way that he gets cursed, that he loses his vitality. Why? Because he is so enamored with love that he's always chasing women he shouldn't be with. That's what he's doing. Or gets in trouble with the many women that he's married to. Gets in trouble. Gets cursed. And so he's cursed with this wasting sickness that he is dying and dying and dying. And he runs to Shiva. Shiva's the one who saves him and says, come rest with me and you can rejuvenate yourself. So that's the cycle of the moon, right? He runs back to the unmanifested. He runs back to the absolute and says, save me. He's rejuvenated. Walk yourself back in, please. Good. Tuck the back toes, lift the back knee. Come back to down dog split, right leg up and back behind you. Good. Keep the leg straight this time. Stack the right hip again. Good. Leg is straight. So I want you to actually feel like you're pulling your toes slightly forward, but you're lifting that front edge of your hip point up higher. And then pull that thigh in. Instead of just extending out through the heel, pull it in. Yeah. Good, you guys. And then scoop your belly, turn those toes back down to the floor. Nice. And then release that foot down to the floor. Good job. Slide forward to plank pose. Not a long hold, I promise. Lower down slow, coming through knees first if you need. As you come down, though, if you're not using your knees, try that squeeze of your hands and your feet. I guarantee it'll feel like it's easier. Point your toes back behind you, rise up cobra. Lift head, neck, and chest. Good. And then downward facing dog. Tuck your toes from your hips. Lift higher from your inner thighs. Nice, Alice. Really good. Yeah. Notice what parts of your body are leading you in your practice and the ones that fall behind. Left leg up and back, down dog split. Bend the knee, kick your heel in towards your butt. Stack the left hip on top of the right. Good. That right inner thigh is still pulling up and back and down dog. So try not to open the whole pelvis. Good. Draw your knee back a little more and then lift your inner thigh higher. It's not about twisting deeper. It's about using those muscles of that outer hip. Good. Spin that left knee facing the floor. Step the foot between the hands. Lunge. Nice. Drop the back heel. Baby toe parallels back of your mat. Warrior two. Again, watch where the knee is tracking over second or third toe. So there's that feeling of moving the inner knee slightly wide. Again, this is getting into that outer hip and outer thigh on the front leg. And then your back thigh is actually rotating slightly in. So the inner thigh of the back leg is pulling back behind you to go up towards the ceiling. So it might feel like your back hip is actually spinning slightly forward. No problem, because your rib cage can still widen. Good. Right hand drops down the back thigh. Left palm reaches up and back. Reverse warrior. Good. The story of the moon, all of those subconscious desires, all of those things that are driving you from behind the scenes. Positive and negative, driving you from behind the scenes. But if we're not paying attention, they can get us in trouble. We can lose a lot of prana. We can waste a lot of prana chasing things that we think are going to make us feel good. Come back to center, arms wide. And then left forearm drops down to front thigh, right arm comes over the ear, side angle. Side angle, opportunity to now change your focus so that there is a little bit more of that front knee is truly over the front ankle if you lost that. And your back thigh is now really getting the chance to rotate in and pulling up towards the sky. So you get powerful on that back leg. Good. Nice, you guys. And then drop that left hand down to the floor inside the front foot or a block if finding the floor doesn't work. Press your forearm up against the shin or your shoulder up against the shin. Take that right arm straight up to the sky. So instead of over the ear, just straight up, and pull up through that side ribs, through your side ribs. Good. Teresa, if you're still there, it looks like your video's frozen. Good. Rib cage open, 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 throat back. Nice. And then bend that, your knee is already bent. Release both hands down to the floor. Bend your front knee if it's not already. And then spin your back heel up. Drop the right knee down. And then walk your hands to the upper right-hand corner of your mat. Come on down to your forearms. Again, or stay on fingertips or use blocks. But breathe a little deeper into your pelvis. Breathe a little deeper into the lower back. So Brahmacharya is that tool that we use, that we add to that understanding of our subconscious desires that says, whatever is there, I'm not going to reject it. But I'm also not going to let it be a place where I just dump my prana, where I just dump my life force, my energy, and hope that it's going to have a good return. Right? Brahmacharya is that understanding of using whatever is there skillfully. No waste. So it's important because, again, sometimes it feels really exciting to just fall into those subconscious patterns, to just fall into it and say, sure, you can take over for a day or two. And sometimes we turn around at the end and say, totally worth it, even if it was destructive. And sometimes we don't. Brahmacharya is that path that is the middle. I'm not going to throw myself after my desires. Good. Walk yourself back up, please. Tuck your back toes, lift the back knee, then take your left leg back and up to down dog split. Good. Keep the legs straight. Stack the left hip on top of the right. Good. So you still have that right low belly is lifting as high as it can. So you're not just turning everything open. You want to keep that left armpit forward just a little bit more. Good. But feel like you're pulling that thigh in towards the hip. So the heel's going to come slightly forward. Yeah, towards your belly. That's it. Good, Sarah. And then scoop your belly, turn your toes back down towards the floor. Leg is still straight. Awesome. And then release that foot down, downward facing dog. Slide forward to plank pose. Good. Lower down slow, coming through knees first if you need. Do that squeeze of the hands and the feet. Rise up, cobra, lift head, neck, and chest. Nice. And then go ahead and release, tucking the toes, lifting the hips, downward facing dog. Good. Bring the right leg up and back, down dog split. And then bring that knee forward and wide for pigeon. Nice. Drop the back knee. And then walk yourself forward. Good. Sending that outer left hip slightly forward, top of your right hip slightly back. Good. Keep pressing into that front shin and flexing the foot if you can. If you can't flex the foot because of the angle of the ankle, that's fine. But push that shin into the floor. Good. So flexing the foot, as we often say, is we do that to try and protect the knee. It really only works if your shin is pretty close or moving towards parallel. It's hard to flex your foot if it isn't. So depending on the angle of your shin, you're either curling those toes back and or pushing that shin into the floor. Good, Sarah. Move your left leg wider to the left. A little better. Good, you guys. Don't waste your breath. That moon energy is looking behind the surface of why you do what you do, why you say what you say. Where is it coming from? And ultimately, where do you think that it's going? Right? Because that's our pranic journey, and that's our yogic journey, is we understand that anything that we say that we do is that's energy that's moving. And wherever we think that it's going, right, when it goes beyond us, it continues. Anything that you say or do, it continues. And whatever effects it creates, that's what we call karma. So Brahmacharya is don't waste your energy, don't waste your prana trying to accomplish something that may or may not have any chance of being accomplished. Don't chase a desire just for the sake of the desire. But don't reject it either. Understand where it's coming from. Then you can follow it skillfully. Then you can do it skillfully. So drop a little deeper here, you guys. Let your elbows go wide. Stop holding yourself up so much. Yeah, makes a difference. You let your elbows go wide and you let yourself really settle in. Let your legs hold you by pushing into that front shin, by squeezing the legs towards each other. Contrary to no one's belief, pigeon is not a resting pose. It's not really a resting pose. One more breath. Good, and then walk the hands back up, please. Tuck your back toes, lift your back knee, and then push that pelvis to the sky and then hover. So pull that right knee straight up in towards your chest, hover. Good, and then step your right foot right between the hands. Nice, a little bit of a wind up, no problem. Good, you guys. Step your left foot in just a little bit, take both legs to straight, Parsvottanasana. Yeah, so if you're on your back for pigeon, probably you want to get up. Or not. I mean, you could just listen to what poses I'm doing and decide if it's worth it to you. Good. Right leg is forward, Parsvottanasana, both legs straight. Press into your feet. Good. Try to push your inner thighs wide away from each other and feel your big toe mounds. Good, Susan, spin that back hip, your left hip forward a little bit more. Other way. There you go. Yep. Good. Really nice, Judy and Debbie, whose cameras are off. I don't know what you're doing, but I'm sure you're doing it beautifully. Nice, you guys. Good. Make it more fun for yourself. So start to come up on the heel of that front foot. So lift the toes and then drag that heel down and pull up into the hip socket. Good. Again, don't let it make you miserable. Don't waste your prana. Beautiful. One more breath. Pull, pull, pull. Good. And then release that foot down to the floor, please. Bend your front knee. Walk yourself forward, standing split. Left thigh parallels the floor. Good. So here the tendency is going to be that right hip, your standing hip, is going to spin forward. It's going to spin in because that's what tight hips do. So take your right butt cheek back and wide. Take your right thigh crease back and wide. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, take your right hand up to where your thigh meets your pelvis and pull it back. You will understand what I'm talking about. There you go. Now maintain that. Bring the hand back down to the floor. Hands underneath the shoulders. Left hand stays where it is, floor or block. Right arm comes to your hip or to your lower back. Start to find your twist. So turn towards that right leg, but pull your thigh crease back. That's it. Ribs open, ribs open, ribs open, throat back, throat back, throat back. And then if you get there and you feel pretty good, take that right arm to the sky. If you want to keep your hand where it is, keep it where it is. Nice, Mark. Nice, Andy. Good, Harriet. Nice, Dana. Awesome. Release that hand back down to the floor, standing split, deep breath. Kick your thigh higher. Awesome. And then step back to nice long lunge. Drop the knee, inhale the arms to the sky, Anjaneyasana. You're not staying there for long, so don't get crazy. Deep breath in. Pull up, pull up, pull up. Squeeze the legs. Good. Widen that front knee, Calliope. Yes. And then release the hands down to the floor. Good. Downward facing dog. Vinyasa if you'd like, or if here you want a child's pose instead. Child's pose, great idea. You're doing the vinyasa, you're sliding forward to plank. lowering down slow, rising up cobra. Good. And if your vinyasa, the flow of your prana is child's pose, stay in child's pose. Good. Come back to downward facing dog as you are ready. Good. And then left leg comes up and back. We're coming to pigeon to the other side. So if you do pigeon on your back, you can feel free to come down to that. Good. Bring that left knee forward and wide. Nice. Back knee finds the floor, but that outer right hip, that back hip has to spin forward. And that thigh crease, the front thigh crease still has to pull back. It's the same position, same hip alignment. Good. Then go ahead and walk yourself forward. Again, make sure that your front foot is either toes curling back and or pushing your shin into the floor. And the pushing your shin, activating the foot, again, it's not just to stabilize the knee, but it stabilizes the knee by activating those muscles on the outer edge of your leg, which are those muscles that this pose is stretching. So with those muscles active in the stretch, it's much more effective. It's not just you pulling on the muscle, it's now the muscle actively engaged and elongating. Don't waste your prana. Right? Brahmacharya, live skillfully. Sometimes translated, right, it's Brahmacharya, the word stuck together. Acharya is living, basically walking your walk and talking your talk. It's living the authentic experience. And so living the authentic experience of Brahma, or Brahman even, of God. You live the authentic experience of that inner self. Don't waste your prana. There's no such thing as waste in nature. Everything has a purpose, even if it's one that we don't fully understand. It hasn't been illuminated in our consciousness yet. But there's purpose to everything. There's meaning to everything. And sometimes it's distorted, and it's completely the practice to start to understand how to undistort it. That power of the moon is that that inner world has the ability to illuminate the fullness of your consciousness, not the outer world. The outer world is the reflection, it's a mirror. The inner world has the chance to tell you the inner meaning, the deeper meaning of what's happening on the outside. So if you expect the outside world to explain itself to you, it never will. You only do it inside. But it's hard to do if your prana is going everywhere except looking at what matters. Elbows wide, drop yourself deeper into your pose. Don't hold yourself up. Or if you have to hold yourself up, hold yourself with your legs, not your back, not your shoulders. You got it. You're good, Susan. Good, you guys. Take one more breath. And then start to walk yourself back up, please. Tuck your back toes, lift your back knee, and then pull that left knee in, hover. Hover, hover, hover. Squeeze it in, butt up, hover. Good. And then step that left foot between the hands. One step, go. Nice. Right foot steps forward just a little bit. Take both legs to straight, Parsvottanasana. Good. Pushing those inner thighs wide away from each other. Good. Maybe even round your back here. So Sarah, maybe use blocks and then round your back a lot. Good. If you round your back here, you guys, you're going to free up space in your low back and your pelvis. Then you can actually do what I'm saying, which is turn that back hip forward. So if you don't round your back and get into decompressing the front of the pelvis, then there's no movement here. There's nowhere to go. So you got to curl in first, and then you can squeeze that left butt cheek back and in. Then you can send your outer right hip forward. And then maybe you can elongate your spine a little bit more, but don't collapse your pelvis. Good. And then come on up on that front heel, please. So lift the toes of the front foot, drag down and pull up, which means you got to get a little bit more powerful on that back leg, right? If you just rely on the front leg, it's going to feel like a lot more effort, a lot more discomfort. Use the back leg. Use that drawing up through the front of your pelvis. Hollow, hollow, hollow. Good. It is not your hamstring's job to fix everything here. It is the whole body experience that creates space for the hamstring. Good. Release that foot down to the floor. Nice job. Bend the knee, walk your hands forward, step up, standing split. Good. And again, top of that left thigh and hip is going to spin forward. So maybe take your left hand up to that thigh crease, pull it back. And as you pull back, the top of your thigh moves back. You press through that right heel a little bit more. Good. Release the hand back down, but don't let that hip swivel forward. Hands underneath your shoulders. Right hand stays where it is. Left hand comes up to your hip or your lower back. Start to twist. Still pulling that thigh crease back. Start to turn your belly open to the left. And again, throat back, ribs open. This might be where you stay. Or take that left arm to the sky, revolved Ardha Chandrasana. Chandra being the name for the god of the moon. Revolved half moon. Good. Release that hand back to the floor, standing split, don't give up. Lift through the back of your pelvis. Good, and then step all the way back, nice long lunge. Drop that back knee, inhale the arms to the sky, Anjaneyasana. Nice, Mark. Good, Victoria. Squeeze the feet towards each other, lift, lift, lift. Pelvis forward, but chest up. There you go, Ken. And then release the hands to the floor. Nice job. Lift that back knee. Good. Step forward, top of your mat. Good. Bring the feet together, big toes and inner heels to touch. Come up on your tippy toes, and then bend your knees wide. Come into a little frog squat. Good. And then let your heels start to drop down towards the floor as you walk your torso forward. So shoulders come inside the knees, coming into garland pose. Good. So this might be as far as you go, just that forward fold between the legs. And if this position doesn't work, you can come straight down to Baddha Konasana if the knees just don't allow this. Good. If you want to go for the bind here, you're going to walk your arms back until your upper arms, your elbows hit the front of your shins. And then you're going to walk, take your hands back behind you to hold hands behind your heels. So your legs are squeezing the outer ribs and your arms are in front of your shins and squeezing. Good. So not underneath the legs, Lynn, but in front of the legs. Yeah, the more awkward bind. Good, Susan, you got it. Good, Alice. Nice, Pam. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Squeeze your knees in. If you're on the floor in Baddha Konasana, give a little hug of your knees up and in just so you keep those outer hips awake. Awesome, you guys. And then release the hands to the floor. Gracefully come on down to sit. Ay, ay, ay. Good. Stretch the right leg out in front of you. Bring the left knee up in towards your chest. Cross that thigh. Cross the foot over the right thigh, please. Wrap the right arm around your left knee. Left hand comes behind you. Twist. Pull the thigh up in towards your belly. Pull your belly up in towards your thigh. Long throat. Good. And then come back to center, please. Good. Step that left foot back to the other side of your leg and switch. So left leg comes back down to the floor. Bend the right knee in. Step it over the left thigh. Left arm reaches around. Right hand comes behind you. Spinal twist. Good. Throat back. So lean into the back of your heart here. That's it. Nice, Pam. Good, Victoria. Good, Lynn. Nice, Dana. Nice job, Alice's dog. Good. Come back to center, please. Unwind your legs. Good. Flex the feet. Dig your heels down. As you dig your heels down, pull your butt back. So it might feel like as you dig your heels down, your knees pop up. But then pull the tops of your thighs down and back. Good. And then take the arms up to the sky. Interlace your fingers. Press heels of the hands up. Press out through those pinky fingers again. Good. Pull through your armpits. Good. Don't change the legs so you're not locking the knees. Heels dig down, tops of thighs pull back. Bow forward, tilting from the front of your pelvis. Dig your heels down, send the tops of your thighs back. Your knees should feel like they are slightly bent the entire time, but you're still working from the hamstrings. Push your butt back. Extend, 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 like you're going to hook your hands around your feet. Good. And then when you've gone as far as your body's going to go in that extension, then drop the hands down to wherever they rest. Heels dig down, tops of the thighs pull back, back, back. So it should still feel like your legs are pretty much straight, but your knees are not locked. Good. Pull those baby toes of your feet back a little further, you guys. Push through the big toe mounds. So do that. Consciously do that. Push through your big toe mounds, pull your baby toes back. So it's like you've got a flat edge against your feet. If you really can't feel it, grab a block or something, place it against your feet and push your feet into it. Big toes and baby toes equally. Good. I guarantee when you do that, you will feel the outer edges of your legs go, ah! And that's what you want. Good. And then slowly release. Come on back up. Scoot yourself forward. Come onto your backs, please. Follow my own subconscious desires, which is to keep you for 2 hours instead of 1. Cheryl wouldn't like that. Right knee in towards your chest, please. Extend that left leg straight out on the floor. Turn your shin, please. So it's like you're coming back into pigeon pose just for a moment. So turn your shin. Good. And draw the top of that right thigh away from your belly and lift that shin up towards your chest. Nice. One more breath like you're in pigeon on your back, full pigeon on your back. Good. And then pass that right foot into your right hand, please. So right hand holds the foot or the ankle. Come into half happy baby. So now the knee is just as wide, but you're stacking the heel on top. And you still want that inner knee to be pushing a little wider out from your rib cage. And the shin comes slightly in. Awesome. Good. And then start to straighten that leg any amount at the angle that it is. Just start to straighten the leg, still holding the foot. Now watch, as you start to straighten that leg, your knee is going to start to fall in. Your hip is going to start to rotate in. Don't let it. Keep that inner knee pushing wide. So you're keeping the rotation on your hip. Good. And then bend the knee back to happy baby, half happy baby. Beautiful. And then bring the knee all the way in towards your chest. Squeeze the shin. Good job. And then bring it across the body, spinal twist. Good. Right arm can go wide to the side or take it up alongside your ear. And it might feel fantastic here if it doesn't usually go there to let your right knee fall all the way to the floor. If you're doing that, letting your knee fall all the way to the floor and it makes your shoulder pop up a lot, that's fine. Just take the arm up alongside your ear instead of reaching back behind you. Again, everything has meaning, but don't waste your prana. So you adjust. This is how I move through the world so that I'm not wasting my prana, putting myself through something painful that's not going to have a benefit or not the benefit that I'm looking for. Good. Bring yourself all the way back to center. Squeeze the knee in. Good. Kind of like this idea. Just squeeze your knee in or maybe hold behind the thigh and then just for a moment, lift head, neck, and chest. So curl into your spine. Yeah, like you're doing a little abdominal curl. Good. And push your shin back against your hands. Push your thigh back against your hands, whatever you're holding. Good. So you get kind of that full roundness of your spine. Hollow your belly. Press the top of your left thigh down. Don't use your left leg. Good. And then release. Nice job. And extend that right leg down to the floor. Bring your left knee in. Turn the shin like you are in pigeon on your back. So you're reaching with the right hand for that baby toe edge. And if you're moving the knee wide away from you, do it from the top of the thigh. So don't move the knee. Bring your hand to the top of the thigh, closer up to where your hip actually is. And move that away from your belly. And then lift that shin up towards the chest. Flex your foot. Good. Yeah. And not a long hold, just a chance to remind yourself that you can change the rotation of your thigh. Good. And then move that foot into your left hand, please. Come into half happy baby. So the left knee maybe goes even a little wider, and then stack the heel on top of the knee. But again, that inner knee is going wide away from your ribs and your shin is hugging slightly in. So that's what creates that rotation, is that your knee is the widest part, your shin comes slightly in. Good, Dana. Nice, Harriet. Good. And the top of that right thigh anchors down, so don't fall into that left side of your pelvis. So Calliope, a little bit more weight on that right side of your pelvis. There you go. Yep. Good. You guys start to straighten the left leg, please. Right words, and be aware that as it starts to straighten, the knee is going to want to rotate in. Try to keep it drawing wide. Yeah, I know. It might feel like there's a little bit of a struggle. Good. Nice. Bend the knee again back to half happy baby. Good. And then bring the knee all the way in towards your chest, squeeze. And then come into spinal twist. Left knee comes across the body. And again, if it feels good to let that knee come all the way down to the floor, let it drop all the way to the floor. And if your shoulder comes up pretty high, stretch the left arm up over the ear instead of reaching back behind you. Creates a different sort of stretch, but it still gives you the same opportunity to start to drop that left shoulder blade back down to the floor, your left rib cage down to the floor. But it takes away that pulling through the arm. Good. There are so many ways that you can live your life in a way that is a little bit more skillful, meaning it's not falling into old routines, old habits, old ideas. We call those samskaras, we call that karma. It's not being driven from an unconscious place that you don't understand the meaning of. If you know why you're doing what you're doing and you are fully conscious of it, swaha, do it. But if you don't, that's the power of the moon, is start to understand the meaning behind what you do, what you say, how you act, how you are. Come back to center, please. Squeeze that knee in. And as you squeeze in, keep that right thigh rooted to the floor. Start to lift head, neck, and chest. So again, you can be holding the front of the shin or behind the thigh here, doesn't matter. Good. And then I want you to give that little push back. The shin pushes into your hands, the thigh pushes back into your hands so that you can really hollow from below your belly button, pull away from the top of your thigh. So you feel the whole abdominal, the whole back awareness. Good. And then release. Nice job. Good, you guys. Take both legs straight out in front of you. Stretch the arms up overhead. Reach, reach, reach. Good, and then release. Feet drop open, arms come alongside you, palms face up. When we have run ourselves ragged in the world and we feel that we have nothing left, the one to run to is Shiva. The one to run to is the absolute. The place to run to is inside. So go back into deep breathing. And allow your breath to begin to illuminate that inner world. All of the shadows, all of the corners. Very gently bring the awareness back to your breath. And let the body begin to stretch and move in whatever ways serve it well. And as you're ready, draw the knees in towards your chest. Roll to the right side. And take a moment before you begin to push the floor away to come back to an upright seated position. Bring the hands together in front of the heart center, palm to palm, or whatever mudra has been serving you well. We often describe the moon energetically in yoga as being the softer aspect of things, being the cooling energy. It's the darker energy. It's the relaxing, the soothing, the whatever we call it all of those things. But full moon energy is a powerful place. Moon energy is a powerful place because it is completely the unseen. It's the unconscious. It's the subconscious aspect of your world, of your experience. And so all of the power for everything outside of you is coming from there, consciously or unconsciously. It's coming from there. So the full moon, when it starts to bring things forward, it starts to put things in front of your face, the way you're acting, the way others are acting, the way your feelings are running. Don't ignore it, because it's a powerful place that something is able to be illuminated. Something is able to be understood from a awareness that you didn't have before. Maybe didn't have before. So the moon might be softer in some respects, but it is incredibly more powerful than anything you see on the outside. So use it. Whatever is at the forefront, whatever is heightened in your life right now, there's wisdom there, there's understanding, there's illumination to happen. But you have to look at it. And then don't waste your prana on the way things used to be. Don't waste your prana on the way you want things to be that doesn't help you manage what's in front of you, that doesn't help you move through what's in front of you. It's Brahmacharya. You live the authenticness of your greatest self. And you breathe in a way that includes everything that you are. It doesn't exclude anything that is rising. So this is what we practice, is the moon is there to bring you to that very powerful place of knowing your desires, what they are, and also knowing how to accomplish them without chasing, without running yourself into where you have nothing left. Remember that. Your prana, where everything is created. Don't waste it. Close with the sound of Om, deep breath in. Sliding the thumbs up to the space between the eyebrows. Namaste, everybody. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your day, great rest of your weekend until I see you again. So tomorrow, regular schedule. Monday, there's one class only at 9:30 a.m. with me. So if you want to come on at 9:30 on Monday, come play with me. That's the only class for the day. And then next week, Tuesday through the rest of the week is the beginning of our new schedule. So all of the new classes that are coming up are on as of that Tuesday. And pay attention, that Sunday, so this Sunday, my class is at 10 o'clock like usual. Next Sunday and into the future, that class is going to be at 9:30. So you have to reset your brain. I have to reset my brain. So this week, Sunday at 10, next Sunday, 9:30. Yes, meditation will still be after, same kind of thing. Everything's just a half hour up. Okay? All right. Any questions? Please keep telling us about things that we can help you with, that we can fix, all of that.
Veronica, will this class still be at 8 on Saturdays?
Yes.